All right, here we are, 2021 Vision Project. Who would have thought we're already this far into the new year? By the time you watch this video, we are just about 10% through 2021. So let's jump right into it, the projects for 2021. First of all, we like to redo my office and the church office. It is the most used room in the building, and it's also the room where people come in for marital counseling, all kinds of counseling appointments. People are in my office more days of the week, really, than they make use of the auditorium. The total cost for both office projects is $5,000. In addition to this, we'd like to finish out the projects that we started last year on the outside. Now, don't get me wrong, we finished every project that we had raised money for, but we'd like to complete those projects this year. We're going to close in the area underneath of the steps that lead up here to my office in the auditorium, making that a storage facility. Then we will build the ramp from the top side down, as well as a deck up top. So if you'd rather just stay up top and fellowship on the deck, you may, or you can come downstairs to the pad in the backyard and fellowship there. We'll have a fire pit, we'll have a grill, we'll have some chairs, all of which will be able to be stored in the new storage facility that we're building underneath the stairs and keep the weather away, keep the thieves away, etc. Total cost for this project, $3,500. In addition to these other two projects, we would like to put in some sound deadening equipment to help the acoustics in between the main auditorium and Brother Gabe's Spanish Sunday School class. If you sit in the back in particular, there's times where you hear Brother Gabe as he's preaching. We certainly understand that. I'm certain there are times where they hear us in the main auditorium, and that's understandable as well. We'd like to put in some new sound deadening equipment. Change the door, it's a hollow core door, switch that out, put in some new stuff, even put some sound deadening equipment upstairs to assist with the sound bleed we get in from the Sunday school class, the youth department upstairs. Total cost for this project, $1,500. Next, over the years, we've always done projects for people outside of our church and try to be a blessing to them. This year is no different. Our first project is actually kind of one of us, and that certainly is Brother Jesse and Miss Abby Delgado. Don't forget baby Annie too. In just a few short months, they're going to be going back to the field of Argentina. In the midst of COVID, we have missionaries all over the world that are trying everything they possibly can to get out of their countries and back to the States. And we're blessed to have a missionary out of our church that wants to get out of America and back to Argentina. We're blessed, truly. We want to help them as they go back, because not only are they going back, but this time they're actually starting a work. That's right. Jesse Delgado and his family will be starting a work on this term back in Argentina. There's going to be a lot of startup expenses with that. First and last month's rent, chairs, Bibles, hymn books, etc. I had joked with Brother Jesse that we needed to buy him a pulpit, and he told me, actually, Pastor, I already bought one for the live stream. And I appreciate his desire to preach and to minister and use his own personal money to do those kinds of things. I'd like to raise $2,500 to give to Brother Jesse to help offset the cost of the startup expenses for the ministry there in Argentina. Next, we would also like to do something for some people that aren't necessarily associated with our church. Imagine it's Christmas and you're broke. I know for some of you, you don't have to imagine. You can look back at various times in your life and that was true. Imagine you have kids and their lack at Christmas, it's going to be hard for them not to attribute that to you being a pastor, you being in the ministry. We'd like to help offset that. Just this last year, we heard from one of our missionaries and they had $50 for a family of 5 for Christmas presents. And thankfully, God supplied and God provided, and they had a very good Christmas. We'd like to raise $1,500 to distribute to other church planters or people in full-time ministry so that they might have a better Christmas. Just to love on them, remind them that God hasn't forgot about them. I realize the spirit of the season, the purpose of the season is Jesus Christ, but you try telling that or explaining that to a 4-year-old as to why they're not getting for Christmas what others are. $1,500 to give away to other people in full-time Christian service to help them have a Merry Christmas. Another project we have this year that's not that big of a project is just a refresh, and that is our lobby. Our lobby's beautiful. I really appreciate all the work that's gone into it over the years, and it really is a good representation of our church. And so we'd like to spend $1,000 for new paint in the lobby, some new chairs, some new decorative pieces, etc. And I don't really even understand all of that, but we're going to let people who do make those decisions. But $1,000 to refresh the lobby. Another project that's hard to explain in such a short order, so I really won't even try. We're restarting our Institute program and really trying to train people how to preach. Now, there's several ways that you learn to preach. By getting opportunity to preach, by learning the mechanics of preaching, and then also by hearing good preaching. And so we'd like to do all three. We're going to have an Institute class where we will teach how to preach, the homiletics of it. We will give people opportunity to preach in that class. And then in addition to that, I would like to start taking some young men to various preaching engagements. Perhaps it's preaching engagements where I'm preaching a revival meeting in another church or a youth rally. Perhaps it's even we hear that there is a great preacher preaching a revival meeting in Colorado Springs, or we might drive down for a night, spend the night, go to the preaching the next night, come home. But all of those things are going to have some expense to it. The books in teaching people, the homiletics books, the travel. And so for that project, we'd like to raise $1,500. One thing that was done last year and done very well in my estimation out of necessity was the live stream. To this very day, we have a lot of people that are only able to view our services online. Brother Charles and Miss Becky did an outstanding job in short order making our live stream possible and I think very effective. We'd like to spend a little bit more money into our live stream this year and expand it and make it a little better. A second camera so we can have various angles, a turret so we can remote control, follow the preacher, etc. When we're preaching, and then also some software that would allow us to have sort of an intro bumper going into the video, and then also a graph on the bottom with the title of the sermon, the book, etc., etc. And so the cost for this project is just $1,000 for improving the live stream. The total cost for all the projects for this year is $17,500, a very manageable amount. Last year, our project totals were $25,000, the year before, $20,000. And so I firmly believe that God can provide everything that's needed from this year for the vision projects. I trust you'll pray about participating. It's hard to summarize all of these projects in just short order. Last night at our vision night, we talked about them in more detail and gave more of the specifics. And so if you've got questions, we'd love to be able to answer those. But I challenge you, please participate on February 14th, Vision Sunday. Please participate in giving. You can give one-time offering that day, you can give in a weekly commitment, or you can give at a future date. You can give a promise and say, by such and such a time, I know I'll be getting my tax return or my stimulus check, and I'll give X amount of that to the church by such and such a date. I hope you'll participate. And then let me say just a brief word to those of you who are only joining us online. Please participate. You have sat on the outsides looking in. We've tried everything we can to let you know that you're still a part of the church. Here is your opportunity to still participate with the church in things moving forward. I trust you'll give generously. I trust we'll all give generously to the vision projects of 2021 as we move forward by faith with family for future generations. Thank you. You'll laugh later.